Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Psychax. The trap of a high-value woman. The way that Psychax compared high-value women to high-value restaurants was... Let's get to that chow. Chow time.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychax, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the trap of the high-value woman. So...
it's funny. We never really talk about high-value women. We actually don't really know what it is or, the true definition of it. I know, the red pill side always wants to talk about, there's no high-value women unless a high-value man picks them. I actually somewhat disagree with that. I think women that carry themselves properly are very modest of themselves. They don't have, and they're decent looking. Those are pretty high value women that, don't want to sleep around. Just not sleeping around is already considered somewhat high value in a sense, just because of how society is and how many women are not that.
So I'm very happy to report that I've been doing a lot of consultations with women these days. I love doing consultations with women.
This is actually good news. More women that watch Psychax, more women will understand how the men work. And the more we get people to understand the opposite sex in a greater deal, the better society's going to be, guys.
Because I love helping women see things from a man's perspective. This is important because just like in marketing, you kind of have to see things from the perspective of your potential customers so that you can make a value proposition that resonates with them. Insisting that people should simply buy what you're selling independent of their own wants and needs doesn't work. So seeing things from a man's perspective will help women get the kinds of relationships that they want from the men they want to have those relationships with.
I mean, this is true. Even in content creating, there's stuff I want to do. There's stuff that I want to talk about. But my audience does not care for it. And for me to do something that my audience doesn't like or enjoy is going against what they want, in a sense. So am I going to do well if I go against what you guys want to watch or like to watch? Of course I'm not going to do well. So I have to tailor myself to keep doing more similar content that you guys enjoy. This is the same thing that women don't understand. Men want a certain thing. We have control over our own relationships. We have control over our own autonomy. So if you don't fit those molds, we don't have to deal with you.
Now, a certain issue has come up repeatedly in these consultations, so I thought I'd make an episode about it. Because if several women in the recent past have been struggling with this issue, chances are very good that many, many women are currently struggling with the same issue right now. And it kind of goes like this. Usually, these women come to me and they say, Orion, I'm in my 30s, and I understand that my time is limited. I'm ready to have a family in the next year or two.
Hey, it's so funny that a lot of women are going in their 30s post-wall. They've hit the wall and they've realized they've ran out of time. I wish that we can do something about this to where women can realize this a little bit earlier before they lost a good amount of eggs, and the chances of them being able to birth healthy children has gone down dramatically.
And I need your help to make that happen. And I say, great, let me help you do that. So let's do a little role play. Let's say that you're you and I'm the guy that you want to make things happen with, okay? If you come to me like this, I'm going to say something like, all right, I just met you not too long ago, and this is a little pushy, but okay, I'm willing to move things along to fit your timeline. Let's say I'm willing to give you a lifelong commitment and to provide for you and the children. I make a lot of money, a lot more than you do, which is probably part of the reason why you singled me out. So your quality of life should improve considerably if I take you on. Now, what will I expect to receive in return? This
I am the table. That's what we usually hear.
Question stumps a lot of women. Usually they first come back with some really high level stuff, like I'm intelligent and educated and I would make a really supportive partner. And in my role play, I respond, okay, well, that might be the case, but I already have a lot of support in my life. I have a therapist and a lawyer and a priest and various professional consultants. Each one is an expert in his or her field and are specialized in the functions they serve in my life. No offense, but I don't think you're going to give me better advice than they can in the domains in which I consult them. So,
isn't this fucking awesome? How freaking Dr. Orion is breaking down the thought processes of men step by step of how we judge women or how we judge what women offer.
That's not actually something that I need from you.
Right?
And then the women start to cotton on a bit and they say, oh, okay, well, I can give you children, right? Those people can't do that. And I respond, well, almost any woman could give me children.
There you go.
Are you going to be a mother? Are you willing to quit your job and raise those kids? Most of the time, the women are frightened by that prospect and they reply, no, I'm not willing to give up my career, or I would expect you to do your share of the childcare too. And so I counter, so you're telling me that you're willing to be a surrogate and that I'll end up paying someone else to raise my children so that you can make a little more money at your job?
Ooh.
Sometimes that irritates them and they respond that they don't think it's fair, that they should do all the childcare and that they're looking for a 50-50 relationship. And I reply, that's totally fair. But
it's funny how I want the man to support me. And then all of a sudden when the man wants something, oh, no. I want a 50-50 relationship.
that means that you should probably be asking someone who makes around the same as you do.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can both invest equally in the lifestyle that you jointly build.
I actually think that's very good. When people have very similar salaries, very similar, they make a similar money. I feel, yes, splitting everything almost 50-50, like childcare and all those things, that makes more sense than when you have a man that makes that kind of money and you want him to support you. Where is the reciprocation that the man's receiving if he's doing all of this?
That said, you probably and understandably think, what's the point of getting married if it's not going to significantly improve my situation? Which is why you're talking to me and not some other guy. And we go back and forth like this for a while until eventually we hit on the truth of the matter. Namely, if I'm a high value guy, the kind of guy that you want to get married to and have children with, the only way that you're going to get what you want is by providing something that I don't already have. And the more I have, the harder that's going to be.
Let that sink in, guys. The more we work on ourselves, the more money we make, the more connections we build, the bigger our business is, the less and less that we need women for anything. Why? Once we become a leader of man or, a leader of business, you're making significant money. And if you're making that kind of money, yeah, you have advisors for everything. You have all these things. You have a maid. These things are already provided for. You can literally go pay a person to get a surrogate to get a child and be a single father, and then hire a nanny or a maid to take care of the child. And it's very similar to how modern women want to deal with it. They just want to pop out the baby and then enjoy life, not take care of the kid, not take care of the house.
However, in general, there are three things that a woman can provide most straight high-value men. They are: 1, consistent, fantastic sex; 2, children and child rearing; and 3, obedient agreeableness that improves his quality of life. And to be honest, men can actually buy all three of those things. However, there's still a lot of stigma and judgment about buying these three particular things, which actually creates an opportunity in the marketplace for women to potentially fill. Let's focus on this last item a bit, shall we? Obedient agreeableness that improves his quality.
I wonder how many women got upset watching this as soon as they heard obedient agreeableness.
Quality of life can look like many things. But two of the most common ways of doing this historically are cooking and cleaning. Ooh, okay. The pushback I typically receive on this point is considerable, and usually something along the lines of, that is low value labor, Orion. I'm
Ooh.
not interested in being someone's maid or some man's mommy. The man I want can afford a maid. Let him pay someone else if he wants his house cleaned. And I say, fair enough. You have absolutely no moral obligation to cook or clean for a man.
It's true.
However, I'd like you to consider that if a man pays for that service, that is one less way in which he might need you. You can look at these tasks like oppressive servitude, or you can see them as opportunities to intimately integrate yourself into the man's lifestyle.
For free. It doesn't cost you any money. It really doesn't. Like, if you were to cook for the guy, you think the guy won't buy the groceries? He'll buy the groceries as long as you're cooking. If you're going to clean his house, what does that cost you other than time and a little bit of effort? I tell you guys, I have a girl that I see. She'll come over, and again, I'm busy. I wake up, she's still in bed. I'll go get ready and stuff, and then she'll start making the bed. She'll start cleaning up the room. She'll tidy up a little bit. She'll take out the trash. If there's any dishes in the dishwasher, she'll start clean, or dishes in the sink, she'll start cleaning them. And then she'll, like, if I'm low on water, she'll go fill up my jugs of water and bring them over. That doesn't really cost her anything. How much do I appreciate that? Tremendously. There's no other women in my life that I've met that were willing to do these things without me telling, hey, clean this. Hey, do this. No, she does these things on her own. That's the willingness of wanting to do these things, and not because it gets you something or you feel like you have to do it. You want to do these things because it helps your partner's life out tremendously. He doesn't have to do these little tasks because he's busy doing other things.
Remember, the most dangerous man for a woman is the man who has everything. Because if he has everything, he doesn't need you for anything. Which means that you'll be a plaything at best.
And that's where the trap is for a lot of women too. They want these guys that have everything. Of course they got everything. They got the looks, they got the money, they got the status. You're just their plaything. Why? Because they can afford everything else that a woman offers. It's sad that women really think that they could stay the way they are and get these type of men without any effort.
Next, let's look a little closer at this judgment you have about cooking and cleaning being beneath you as being low value labor. Let's imagine that we go out to a Michelin star restaurant for a real high-end dining experience. The dinner will be quite expensive, and it may have taken us months just to get.
I've been to one Michelin star restaurant, and I tried out. It was quite expensive, and there's very small portions. Most Michelin star restaurants are like that. It was wonderful. The service, everything was supreme. Supreme. Like, when you go to a Michelin star restaurant, you definitely don't expect it to be shitty. You don't expect bad service. You don't expect a dirty glass. You don't expect a lot of these little things. But every restaurant does these things, right? But these Michelin star ones just do it better.
A reservation. And let's imagine that during our dinner, we call over our waiter and ask for a glass of water. And he explains, oh, we don't serve water here. This is a high-end restaurant. We only serve champagne. You can get water anywhere, and I would encourage you to take your business elsewhere if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, how would that go over? Not well, right? What makes a high-end restaurant is not that it doesn't do what the average restaurants do, but that it does everything that the average restaurants do and then some.
Mm-hmm.
If all the other restaurants serve water, you can't really get away with not serving water. No restaurant is above the minimum standard of service.
No restaurant is above minimum standard of service. No woman is above minimum standard of service. Sex, obedientness. Those are things that it's like I can get sex from anybody. I can get a maid to clean all these things. I can get all these things with money. What are you for?
The high-end ones not only go above and beyond the minimum, they also perform the standard of service
Happily.
with class. You want a glass of water? Right away. They'll put it in a nice glass with artisanal ice cubes and a lemon wedge garnish. They do low-value stuff with enthusiasm and alacrity because it's the service that improves the quality of the experience, which is what you're paying for at a Michelin star restaurant. Do you understand?
100%. Again, when I go to nicer restaurants, service is a big deal. Yes, I'm going there because the food should be good, but because I'm paying $50, $60, $70 a plate, I expect service to at least be better than a normal restaurant. If I'm going to go to Applebee's, no hating on Applebee's or anything, and I get supreme service at Applebee's, or you know what, I get supreme service at Applebee's, and then I go to a Michelin star restaurant and I get subpar service, do you think I'll be happy to pay that kind of money to get worse service? Yeah, the food might be better, but the service is shittier. Nobody wants that.
Now, let's be honest. Many of these activities are greatly facilitated by modern technology. Between my dishwasher, laundry
Washing
machines,
machine.
and robot vacuums, I personally keep a 3-bedroom house clean with maybe 2 actual hours of labor a month. A month.
This is true.
With grocery delivery services, I can spend 2 hours a week preparing all my breakfasts and lunches and a few more cooking a few dinners. Pitching in here and there is frankly not a very big ask, which is why I argue that this resistance in women is an ego thing. It's really an issue of pride. And as I've said, pride is women's greatest enemy. It's the number one thing that keeps them from getting into the relationships they want with the men they want to have them with. Look, if you want to split the housework and childcare, find your dark horse. Find a man who has about the same as you and build something together. However, if you're looking for a more successful man to wife you up and give you kids on your timeline, you have to be prepared to provide value. And this has to be a value that he finds valuable because
That's the major part, right? Women always want to add value what they think is valuable. Oh, my kindness and my presence. I don't give a fuck.
the cat decides what milk is good. And all things being equal, providing obedient agreeableness is one of the easiest and cheapest and safest ways of doing just that. Women, find ways of doing this that work for you. Something to consider. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And if
Shout outs to Dr. Orion. Awesome chow. You know, I agree with him. Through my own experience, this is what I have experienced. You know, the people that, the women, not even women, let's just say people. The people that you know, the friends, the acquaintances, the ones that go a little bit above and beyond to do a little bit of extra things for you, how do you feel about that person? You know, like when that person like brings you lunch and he went to lunch and he's like, you know what? I was at lunch at Chick-fil-A. I thought you can use some. Here, I brought you a sandwich. Just that just little act of kindness and, you know, wanting to make his life a little bit easier because he doesn't have to go do these things. People appreciate these things greatly. Even women appreciate these things greatly. So it's weird that women are not willing to do these small little tasks to make the men feel appreciated. It's all we want. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.